Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Local Sports Wrap Up. Today is April the 25th. I'm Ken Brown, and I got the pleasure to be here for one more week, it appears. Frank the Tank. Frank!
It's
We
great.
made it.
It's
We
great.
made it to your last day here. Obviously, you could come back and visit because you're a phenomenal host. What's going on, bud? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Big change coming, but I'm doing well.
Okay.
Getting ready. A lot of little things to get done before the big move.
That's right.
But for those that know, I'm leaving. I'm moving out to Grand Rapids. I'll be leaving this position at the News Herald after 10 years. So
Yeah, big change.
it's been a fun run. It's been a great run here downriver with everybody, with all you guys here at the cable station and everybody else downriver. So.
No, man.
But time for a change.
Yeah. You, what they say, go west, young man. You're like a 49er. You're going west in west of Michigan, West Michigan, which is a beautiful part of the state, and we wish you nothing but luck, the best, We're definitely going to miss you. When you were here or not, we've been utilizing Frank the Tank's information for at least the 3 years that I've been here. We've been using you really well, and it's good to have you in studio. It's been great, So I know you'll do great wherever you go because you do a great job here. So much so that's why we looked you up, right?
I appreciate it.
No, man, best of luck. But last week here, you had an opportunity to take in a few of these games and some of the stuff's going around. Softball time. What's going on in the softball circuit here downriver?
I got a chance to see a big game on Thursday afternoon. Woodhaven and Trenton played. Both teams came into that game state ranked. Both teams are, they'll have a lot of high hopes this year. Trenton last year made it all the way to the state finals. They've got a lot of girls back from that team. Woodhaven made it to the regional final last year. I think they were like 33-5. They've got a lot of girls back from that team. So, when the two of them clashed, you were expecting a big game, and that's what we got. It was 17-13. Woodhaven ended up winning that game in 8 innings.
Okay.
It wasn't quite the pitcher's duel that I think a lot of us expected, but
Sure.
it was, it turned into a slugfest.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, though, when good offense plays good defense, sometimes good offense is going to prevail, right? And then you're going to get those 17-13 scores like football scores more so. So 17-13, take me through it. How did it start off?
Woodhaven, Trenton, which is the home team, jumped out to a 6-0 lead. Woodhaven chipped away. They got a run back, I believe, in the next inning. Got 2 more back, and then they exploded for 7, I believe, in the 4th inning.
Okay.
And they grabbed a 10-6 lead. Trenton came right back, tied it up, and then the teams went back and forth from there. They got to the 7th inning. The game was tied. It appeared that Trenton had scored, but then they ruled that the run didn't count because there was an interference play at first base. So, it was a wild game. There was all kinds of, I think there were a couple interference calls and just basically anything and everything. You had all these girls out there celebrating, thinking they won, and then they had to go back in the dugout. And then after that, the girl had to go back on base, but and then the Woodhaven pitcher was able to get the next 2 outs.
Okay.
And then Woodhaven batted in the top of the 8th. They scored 4 runs, took a 17-13 lead, and then in the bottom of the 8th, the Woodhaven pitcher, Grace Usher, she was able to get 3 outs and sealed up the win there.
Okay. Okay, so Woodhaven ends up beating them 17-13.
Right.
But Trenton has nothing to be sorry for. They played a great game. Is the jaws snatched from Trenton's mouth? The victory? Was it? Did it? I mean, not that it was not a good call. I know it was a call, but they appeared to win at first, and then Woodhaven came back and took the momentum into the bottom of the inning and won it,
Right.
or the top of the inning, and then they shut them down.
Yeah, there was definitely a little bit of a momentum shift there. I mean, it's got to be deflating, when you think you won the game, and then you got to go back and then play 2 more outs, and then at that point, it's got to be a bit frustrating to have something like that happen.
Yeah. The good part is it's early enough in the season where it's a teachable moment, right?
Right.
I'm sure that coach can build on it and say, hey, you know what? Hey, let's go back out there and battle. We showed a lot of grit by winning that. We can do it again. And then when it doesn't happen, you still have that experience, what it was like to get to that point.
Right.
And I'm sure that the coach was on the umpire at that point in time, probably just talking to him and telling the kids to stay out of it.
Right.
But no, it's early in the season. I'm sure Trenton will still be great. And it's good to see Woodhaven get a win and balance it up a little bit. What about Wyandotte? How the Lady Bears do?
Wyandotte on Wednesday, they headed over to Dearborn to play Etzel Ford. And Ellie Isinger, freshman, she had 2 home runs in that game, 7 RBIs, stolen base, and she was in the circle. She pitched. She was the starting pitcher, and she pitched a shutout. It'd be a 3-hit shutout in that game.
Oh my God! Yeah,
big
she's
time.
like what's the guy's name? Tani, the guy from the Angels. She's pitching, she's hitting, she's doing it all. So she had 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, great fantasy line, and then she goes on the mound and toasts the rubber and throws a 3-hit shutout. So they end up winning the game.
They won that game 13-0.
13-zip. So Wyandotte's actually 4-6 on the season. They didn't have such good luck the next day.
Yeah, the next day they ended up losing to Taylor 9-8. That game went to extra innings.
Okay.
They went to 8 innings, and Wyandotte lost in the bottom of the 8th. So it's overall it's been a bit rocky. But I mean, when you got a lot of young girls, like I said, Ellie's a freshman.
Yeah.
So when you're relying on a lot of young players, things are going to be a bit rocky like that. But it's going to be a wild year, I think, in the Downriver League.
Okay.
You've got those 3 heavyweights at the top. We talked about with Trenton and Woodhaven a little bit ago, and then you got Allen Park, the reigning state champ. Then you got all those teams kind of filing in below. They're going to beat up on each other. So I think it's going to be a wild year. It's going to be a wild run here this last month.
Yeah. I think the good part about falling below those top 3 dogs is that you get an opportunity to play them and you're gaining experience. And it's the same thing you're saying, Frank, is now they're sitting there saying, okay, we can compete with these. They're gaining confidence throughout the year. And then hopefully if you got somebody in the circle that can throw it, you got a chance, right? You got a chance, that's all. And that's all you want in this game of softball. So the Bears lose to Taylor 9-8, and they beat us with 13-0 for the week. Did we see anything else in softball that kind of caught our eye, or is that pretty much it?
Allen Park played in the actually Trenton did too. Allen Park and Trenton both headed out over the weekend to that backyard challenge, which is a total sports complex in Wixom. I know that's one of those big tournaments where you get a lot of the state heavyweights come in. You've got like Novi, the Walled Lakes. You had Warren Regina, all those type of teams, all kind of converged there that weekend and play. I know Allen Park went 4-1 for the weekend. They actually played Trenton. Obviously, it won't count in the league because that's a non-league game, but they beat Trenton 11-2.
Okay.
And then I don't remember. I don't remember who else they beat throughout the weekend, but I know they went 4-1, and I know they bombed. I know they hit quite a few home runs.
Yeah, and we were talking about that. It seems like Allen Park has turned into like the Bronx Bombers or the Downriver Bombers. Sizemore has at least 5 home runs, and then there's several girls under her that have a couple. And we know Sizemore is going to be up for Mrs. Softball or whatever the case may be. There was another kid you were telling me about for them that's kind of up and coming.
They have Kylie Carr. They're sophomore leadoff hitter, shortstop. She's having a monster year so far.
Okay.
She had a monster year as a freshman too, but she's now moved over to shortstop. She's phenomenal shortstop. She's been a phenomenal hitter. She's got 3 home runs already.
Okay.
I know. I was looking at her stats. She had a streak there where she was. She had about like a 13. I believe she had about like a run of about 13 consecutive hits at one point. She was like 4 for 4, like 3 consecutive games.
I got you.
So I mean, and I know she thinks she's got about 17 RBIs.
Yeah.
You know, she's quick on the bases. She got a bunch of stolen bases. So I mean, she can do it all. And I believe she pitches a little bit too. I believe she's pitched. So I mean, you know, if they need her to step in there.
Yeah.
So she's only a sophomore.
Right. She's the next big thing to Allen Park. They don't rebuild, they reload.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So Sizemore is moving on after this year and whatever they do. But then they got this young shortstop. Her name's Kylie.
Kylie Carr.
Kylie Carr. Remember Kylie Carr's name. To be honest with you, I had an opportunity last year to watch Allen Park during their tournament run. They played Garden City. And Garden City also had a freshman that had 2 bombs off Sizemore that day. I don't recall the young lady's name, but I knew she was a freshman and she was playing center field for them. So it's good to hear that Kylie Carr is there for them as a sophomore, so they'll continue to grow. And once again, the field's done. So what can you say? Well, the softball diamond and the baseball diamonds are done, and they're still working on the football field, I'm sure.
I believe they're still doing they're still doing some work over there.
Okay.
In terms of the walkways and such, but the fields are done. They're able to get out there and play. So
No, that's good. They're probably making room for all those state championship banners that they're going to hang over there. As far as baseball, downriver, did we see anything going on in the baseball realm?
Baseball, I was talking about that Woodhaven Trenton softball. Just a little bit down the way there, on the same property, you had the baseball, Woodhaven and Trenton.
Okay.
And that game ended up was a lot different. That game was only 2, as opposed to 30 runs. This game only had 3 runs.
Okay.
But they went all the way to 12 innings.
Oh man.
Yeah. I believe Woodhaven was able to grab an early lead, and then Trenton came back and tied it in the 6th, and then that was the last run for another 6 innings. They went all the way to 12 innings. But Evan Langlois from Woodhaven pitched a monster game. He pitched into the 8th inning, 12 strikeouts. I believe he had no earned okay. And then Tyler Harris came on in relief of him for Woodhaven. Pitched a solid game. I believe he threw 4.2 innings. He had like 5 strikeouts. Didn't give up any runs. There was also the pitcher Evan who laid down a squeeze bunt, executed the squeeze play. The 12th inning, got a bunt down, and they scored the winning run.
That they won on a squeeze play.
Yeah,
That's how they won it.
Well, that was the go-ahead run.
That was the go-ahead run
in the top of the 12th.
Okay.
And then they held him off in the bottom and won there.
Man, that's classic baseball, man.
Right.
I'd love to be there. And you're right. There's 2 ends, right? There's the MASH 17-13 game, and then there's the 2-1 game. Real baseball or diamond sports fans love them both, right? You love to see the action, but you love to see a pitcher's duel where it goes into that. So, no, that's good. I know that Wyandotte had similar luck as the girls as far as boys this week, where they won a couple and they lost one as well. And I know they played Etzel Ford and they played Lincoln Park since the last time we talked. In the Lincoln Park game, Wyandotte won 13-3.
Okay.
In that game, Jason Pente had 2 hits, Manny Gutierrez had 2 hits, and then Jaden McGowan had 4 stolen bases. So they were running around against Lincoln Park a little bit on that day. And then in the Etzel Ford game, Gutierrez comes back and goes 4 for 4, and then he had 12 Ks on the mound. So it looks like that they got 3, and I also found out that Gutierrez is a lefty.
Okay.
So that's good that they got a lefty-righty switch up, out of the pen for them. But I don't know. That's pretty much what I got. I got the Wyandotte scores. I don't know if you saw any baseball downriver, because you sound like you were entrenched in a bunch of double headers and things of that nature. Well, you saw the boys game 2-1.
I also got to see Gabriel Richard.
Oh, yeah?
A little bit earlier in the week. Real cold day. Froze out there, but they played a doubleheader with Divine Child.
Okay.
And Gabriel Richard is the reigning Division IV state champion. But they ended up losing both games. Both were close. I believe it was 3-0 and 3-2.
Okay.
So they were. It was a real pitcher. Both sides got really good pitching. Richard has kid named Tyler Morehouse Jr., really good pitcher, really good all-around player.
Okay.
Strong shortstop, tough hitter, good pitcher. I believe he had 10, 12 strikeouts, I think, in the first game. And then the second game, Drew Everingham, he's a lefty, was on the mound for them, and
Okay.
he pitched a solid game, despite Richard losing that game 3-0.
Okay.
So I think Gabriel Richard last year kind of did the same thing. They got out to a real slow start. They lost a lot of games. I believe they went into the state tournament under 500, but then once they hit the tournament, they got hot, and went all the way to win the state championship. So.
Yeah, but I think that we see that a lot, Frank, with those Catholic League teams. And like we talked about before, like they play a tougher schedule, especially if they're in like downriver or they got like I'm thinking about this teams, De La Salle and teams like that. They could get off to a tough start, but at the same time, they're playing a tough schedule. So then when they get to the Division 3 or 4 playoffs,
Right.
they're men amongst boys or women amongst girls, I guess, in some respect.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear that Gabriel Richard got off to that. When you say cold, was it 46 and rainy, or was it?
Well, I got in my car and it said it was in the high 40s, but
Okay.
it felt a lot colder.
Yeah. And I think that is huge because Michigan, man, like you do not even really get good baseball weather until the middle of May.
Yeah.
It's so inconsistent. It can be hot, it can be cold. And that made me think about what you were saying about the home runs that Allen Park is hitting. When that weather breaks, those balls are going to be flying out of there, man. Like they're going to be hitting a lot more bombs, I believe, once the weather breaks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I mean you can only pitch around so many kids. When you've got a lineup like that, top down, you've got Mallory Houle, you've got Sizemore, Kylie Carr I was talking about, you got Bailey McAllister. It's just one after the other, and these are all girls that are either signed, for softball for a college. A couple are signed, for other sports, or will be signing for other sports. So I mean, you've got just a great run of athletes there overall. I mean, you just when you're playing against a team like that, what can you do? You can't pitch around.
not everybody.
You can't pitch around Sizemore because the next girl's going to burn you. So there's going to be a lot of balls flying over the fence, I think, for Allen Park this year.
No, that's sweet. And to me, like baseball is that. Like how you said it, they won it with a squeeze play. That is getting them ready for the next level. And that coach had to be like, you know what? We're gonna do it. You know what I mean? You got to get the ball down, and they're still at home. So I love to hear that. The other school that I love to mention during this baseball segment is E-Course Raiders. And I saw that when we left, they were going to play Farmington. We were talking about Coach Covington, how he's going to play a tough. It's good to him get out there. They got out there and they lost to Farmington. They did lose to Farmington, but then they end up winning 2 games this weekend as well. So they're 11-1, but they did lose to Farmington. So shout out to Coach Covington over there at E-Course High, and they're doing their thing still.
Yeah, those Raiders have definitely got noticed.
Yeah.
They're ranked. They came into the last week ranked number 9 in the state in Division 3.
Okay.
So they're not flying under the radar.
Not anymore. Yeah. You can't win all those games and stay under the radar. And then we were talking more about not football, even though the NFL draft is coming up this weekend, which is like your Lions Super Bowl. But we talked about soccer. Soccer's, they had some interesting thing happen. I know that Miss Caroline told us last week. She said it's not that it's unprecedented, but it's unique. That Lincoln Park's JV soccer team was going to take on Southgate last week. Now, why they're not just calling it the varsity, I don't know. But they let you know up front that, hey, this is our JV kids, and they're going to play against Southgate in soccer. And guess what? They won.
Oh, jeez.
Lincoln Park beat Southgate 2-1. So a shout out to the young Lincoln Park team who started out as a JV team, but I think it's official that they're varsity soccer. now. Okay. What else about soccer do we know?
Yesterday, to start the week, we had a pretty big game in the Huron League. Girls Eel, Riverview headed over to Girls Eel, head over the island to play a game, and Girls Eel ended up winning that one 4-0. So Girls Eel is 8-0-1 on the season right now, and then they're 5-0 in the Huron League. So I think they're going to be the favorites to win that Huron League.
Yeah.
They usually do well once they get into the state tournament. The girls over there haven't done quite as well as the boys. They haven't been making it all the way to the state finals, but the talent is there. They've got a great coach over there. It's a solid program, I believe. He's in his third or fourth year now.
Okay.
They've got a lot of solid players. They got a Natalie Kirk. I know I think we talked about her a little bit in the winter back in basketball. She was a real good basketball player too, but she had 2 goals in that game. So she has 15 goals already on the year.
15. Wow. Yeah. That's a whole season for most.
Right.
Yeah, she's got 15 goals.
That would be a good season for a lot. And she's still got a month to go.
Yeah.
More than a month.
So Gross Eel, generally, I think you're 100% right. They're pretty much head and shoulders, at least in boys soccer, I know. But in girls soccer, they're taking up slack, it sounds like, as well, where they're taking names and beating people 4-0. Mm-hmm. So that's good. I don't have anything for Wyandotte soccer right now, girls soccer. But we'd love to get that information, Coach. Send it to Local Sports Wrap Up. We'd love to hear more about how the Lady Bears soccer team is doing, especially when they go over to the island, right? When they go over to the island, because we know Gross Eel will be good. The other part, we talked a little bit about this last week too, track and field. Mm-hmm. And last week was the Belleville Invitational. I think they might have called it the Tiger Classic.
Tiger Relays.
Tiger Relay or something like that. But this week, there was a Warrior Classic, right? And the Warrior Classic is held in Woodhaven, am I right?
Right.
Woodhaven Warriors. How'd that go?
On the girls' side, Allen Park ended up winning the whole thing. Allen Park was the champion.
Okay.
And then on the boys' side, Woodhaven had the best local finish, so they took third. They're on their home track.
Yeah, and interesting enough, like you said, on their home track, Woodhaven boys came in third. The top team was Belleville, and then I think out of nowhere, Yale wins, right? And not Yale that plays Harvard. Not the Ivy League school, but Yale, Michigan. And they came in second place. Me and Frank were having a little back and forth about this and wondering which events that Yale really, did well in. So that's good to see. Belleville, Yale, and then Woodhaven was the top local seed or top local team to finish. And they did well, okay? The thing that you are looking most forward to about moving to the west side of the state?
I'm looking forward to the fresh start. You know, it's going to be. I'm leaving the newspaper business, so I'll be in a new environment. I'm looking forward to meeting new people. Not only at the job at work, but also there within the community.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the new start. I'm definitely going to miss Downriver. I've lived Downriver pretty much my whole life, so I'm going to miss everybody here. But it's going to be.
No, I think that's cool that you said a fresh start, because that is both in employment as well as in your personal situation, and I think it'll be interesting enough, Big Frank the Tank, to see if you gravitate back towards sports. Like it's one thing to do something that a job to take care of your family and yourself. But then if you could ever find something like you're doing, like when I talk to you and we're talking sports, it seems like that's what your thing is. Like you enjoy it so much that you'd almost do it for free, and not that you can, but you enjoy it enough and you're passionate enough about it that you may find some inroads when you go to Grand Rapids area in the sports industry. Do you think so? Maybe
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna give it a shot once I get settled in. Talk to some of the local editors out there. I've got some connections out there already, and I've gotten to doing this 10 years. I've gotten to know a lot of people in the business. So I'm gonna talk to some of the local editors out there, see if they'd be interested in having me do any freelance work. Also, now with the internet, I can actually help out back here.
Sure.
I can make phone calls and write some recaps and such. For the paper for the paper back here, help out my my successor, whoever. I'm not 100% sure who that's going to be yet.
Okay.
But once that's all settled, so I'd like to. I'd like to keep at least keep one foot in that world.
Yeah.
To keep doing some sports writing, reporting.
Well, what I want you to do is, as soon as you know who the successor is, you can touch base with us. But also, you yourself, if you do anything and you want us to talk about it on the show, we'll be happy to. And we'll give you your credit. Frank the Tank said that this is what's going on. Whether it's on the west side or it's downriver, we'll miss the the partnership, and I really appreciate all that you've done for us, man. You've made this job too easy. So I'm a little nervous, odds. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm a little nervous about what it brings, what's in store for us over the next few weeks. We don't have Frank the Tank to lean on. It's going to be some hard work, but it's going to be fun, right? And you've taught us so much with the apps, and you brought the computer to the game. So you've changed the game here at Wyandotte Connects. So we appreciate you for being out here. I think I'm going to have to have you put in a call to Jet Set for me and see if we can get him back out here, man. He got his top traveling the world before he can come back to his Wyandotte post and get right in here with us. But overall, man, we're happy that that's happening. There was another cool thing. The Hypno.
Oh yeah,
Cup.
We've got the Hypno Cup this weekend. That's the big rowing race on the Detroit River.
Yeah.
That will be Saturday. I believe they get going at 8 a.m. You can watch the races from a BASF park in Wyandotte. There'll be 7 local crews out there, and then I believe there will be a couple crews from outside the downriver area. I know last year they had Saline and Parkersburg, West Virginia. We're there. I don't know yet who is coming in otherwise, but I said we have 6 downriver crews and then one from Dearborn, Crestwood.
Okay.
And they use the Wyandotte Boat Club as their home.
Sure.
And then as part of that race, they launched the boats. The boats launch from the back of the boat club there. They have a dock, and then they head south, and then they race back north. It's a 1,500-meter course. So then they end back at on the river there at BASF Park. Usually a huge crowd. Usually a pretty big crowd gets out there. So hopefully the weather holds up. Unfortunately, that's one of those things where if there's any kind of bad weather, they usually end up having to postpone. Well, not postpone. They usually have to cancel.
Okay.
Unfortunately, which is one of the things I feel really bad for those kids.
Yeah, all that
when
practicing,
that happens.
and then
that happens a lot. Unfortunately.
Yeah, weather you can't do anything about. But so hey, if you're up early in the morning on Saturday, run out to BASF Park and check us out. And, check out the boat races. Again, my name's Ken Brown, man. It's been amazing to have Frank here over the last few months, and we'll miss him. All right, but next week we'll see you. Take care.